weighted mean. Are we good? Right, so let's deal with this one, what we call weighted mean. So for example, our final grade for this class is weighted mean, right? We have a weight for all your Pearson homeworks, right? I think that's 20%. You have weight for all your projects, that's another 20%, right? You have weight for the average of all of your unit tests, right? And you also have a separate weight for classworks, right? Journals, foldables, group works, right? For such, and that should be a total of how much? 100% for everything, right? So with that being said, let's consider answering question number 10 in here and how to use our weighted mean to do this question number 10, all right? Brett, let's read question number 10, please.
Marissa's calculus class, course, attendance counts for 5% of the grade, quizzes count for 10% of the grade, exams count for 60% of the grade, and the final exam counts for 25% of the grade. Marissa has 100% average for attendance, 93% for quizzes, and 86% for exams, and 85% on the final. Determine Marissa's average course average.
Thank you. All right. So as you may notice in here, I am circling the given numbers, right? Underlining the question. What is the question, by the way, in here? Question. Right. What is the course average for Marissa, right? For this what we call calculus class. Okay. So once again, 5% for attendance, 10% for quiz, 60% for the unit exams, all right, or unit tests. Final exam account for 1/4 or quarter of the entire grade, right? And regarding the scores, here it is. Marissa had a perfect attendance, okay, 93 for her quizzes, 86 for her exams, 85% for the final exam. Now, how do we compute for the what we call the weighted mean? Okay, her mean of her grading here. So with that being said, we got the formula in here. X bar W, that's the mean, that's X bar. W means weighted, okay, is equal to what? That sigma Greek letter notation means summation of what? The products, right? Between what? Each weight and its corresponding score, right? So again, the summation of the product of each weight and its corresponding score all over the sum, right? That's sigma Wi, that's summation of all the weights. And we are expecting that the summation of all the weights should be a total of how much? 100%. Are we good, right? Because if it's in terms of percentages, right, and this quiz, final exam, attendance, everything should be accounted for, we are expecting it to be a total of 100%. 100%. Okay? Right. Well, that's the expectation, right? So with that being said, we're gonna put that one in here. So what's the first consideration? We're gonna first consider the attendance, right? So what's the attendance in here? It says, so for the attendance, this is what? 5% for the attendance, let's call it WA. And what's the grade for the attendance? Well, she got a perfect attendance, so that's your XA. Okay, right? So for the attendance, okay, that's the first consideration for the weight. It says how much? 5%, right? So we can put in here 0.05 in terms of decimal. And she got 100%, right? So that's your what? WA XA, right? Considering the attendance part of the grade, right? Next one. It says in here, for the quizzes, how much is the quizzes? It accounts for, okay, let's call it WQ, right? The weight of the quizzes will be 10%, right? And what's the grade for the quizzes? 93%, right? So that's your XQ, Q, right? Let's call it Q for quizzes, right? So the weight for the quiz is 10%, and the grade for the quiz is given, right? So once again, what's that again? 0.10, right? Okay, 10% multiplied by, what is the grade for the quiz? It says 93. Plus, okay, what's next? What's the next part? So we have attendance, we have the quiz. What's next? Exams, right? So exams in here tells us it's how much? 60%, right? So that's what? Let's call it, we have a different color in here, red, okay? Exams, we call it E, right? So what's this? WE, and what's the exam grade? 86, right? So that's your XE, right? So again, those will be for the exams. What's the weight again? It says the weight is 60%, right? 0.6 of the grade. And what's the score? The score is, it says
86.
Exam 86. Right? And I think, is this the last? Right? So if we total this one, how much is this? 60%, 10%, that's how much? 70%, 5%, so that's 75% total, right? So we're accounting for how much? 25% more, right? To make it 100%. So, what's the last one in here? What did it say? Okay. Final exam. Let's call it F, right? Okay. Weight of F. Final exam, right? Well, thankfully for our class, we don't have a final exam, right? Well, it's an option, right? But you may choose not to have the final exam, right? Anyway, so the final exam in here, it looks like it's required for this class. Calculus class, that's the score that she got. X, what to call this? F, right? The score for the final exam. So there we go, right? Let's put it in here as follows. 0.25. Again, that's the final exam. What's the score again? 85. Thank you. Okay. Let's put in the weight. So this is WQ, weight of quiz. XQ, the score of the quizzes, right? Exam, let's call it the weight of exam. Value, right, of the exam. Right? Okay. The average of all the exams, right? Finals, right? We call it WF and we call it XF, right? The grade of the final exam, right? And then also, as you may notice, this can be what? The averages of all the exams, like for example, in our case, unit test, right? This will be the average of all the quizzes within the course, right? Okay? Right. So, but in terms of this one, we're expecting it to be just one final exam. So that might be just the score for that final exam. Are we good? All over, what's in here? Summation of all the weights. So if you add 5%, 10%, 60%, 0.25%, we are assuming it to be how much? 100%, right? Or 1. Okay, so get it. Okay, and you can verify. 25%, 60%, that's 85%, plus another 15% is 100%. Or 1. As you may notice as well in there, the percentages of the weights of each, we translate them into decimal, right? But the scores, it remained to be whatever that grade or point is. We did not approximate it to, or convert it to its ratio, right? Or decimal conversion. But anyway, after that, we can basically use our calculator for that. So I'm just gonna click on this and put in the following. What's that again? 0.05, parenthesis or times, what's that? 100, perfect attendance. Plus, what's this? 10%, so 0.10, right? Of what? 93. Plus, for the exams, 60%, 0.60 of what is the score again? 86, right? all the quizzes combined, right? Or all the exams combined, sorry for that. 25%. So we are assuming that this is just one final exam for the course. And Marisa got 85, okay? So let me just erase this one in here. Just you can see what was written or typed in there. And below, again, summation of all the weights, it's 100%, right? Okay, well, basically. Good guys, right? So that's what we got. What is the weighted score for Marisa's calculus class? It says this is 87.15 as a score, average for the entire course. Are we good? Right, so for our letter grade, what do you think is an 87, guys? For a letter grade, is it A, B, C, or D?
B.
B, right? We can say that's mostly on the B plus side of the B. Are we good? Right. So once again, summary for the weighted mean is as follows. X bar mean, W means weighted, so that's weighted mean, equals the sum of all the products of the weights and their corresponding scores or averages for each of those weights, all over sum of all the weights. And again, when we talk about sum of all the weights, typically, if those weights are in percentages, we are expecting it to be a total of 100%. Are we good? Right. Thank you. 3.